today. We can be either loved by a hip and hurting on. We can be either loved by a hip and hurting on. We can be either loved by a hip and hurting on. We can be either loved by that thing. We can be either loved by a hip and hurting on. We can be either loved by a hip and hurting on. We can be either loved by a hip and hurting on. We can be either loved by that thing. Subject for today.
All right, I'll put you on next. All right.
The subject for today. A hitting off beautiful, but a hip and a candy thing. A hitting off beautiful, but a hip and a candy thing. A hitting off beautiful, but a hip and a candy thing. A hitting off beautiful, a hip and a candy thing. A hitting off beautiful, but a hip and a candy thing. A hitting off beautiful, but a hip and a candy thing. A hitting off beautiful, but a hip and a candy thing. A hitting off beautiful, but a hip and a candy thing. A hitting off and a heart can be a that. A hit can be either locking off a datty thing. A hitting off and a heart can be a that. A hit can be either locking off a datty thing. Subject for today. We can be either loved by a hip and hurting on. We can be either loved by a hip and hurting on. We can be either loved by a hip and hurting on. We can be either loved by that thing. We can be either loved by a hip and hurting on. We can be either loved by a hip and hurting on. We can be either loved by a hip and hurting on. We can be either loved by that thing. Subject for today.
Yo, 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 everybody! Welcome to the Red and Blue stream. Sorry for the wait there. Good thing in post we can cut that out. I'm joined here by my associate and partner in all of this, Chris. What's up, man?
Hello, what's going on, stream?
So what are we doing today, Chris?
So, we've had Red and Blue up for a while, and we got a bunch of content, and one of our most popular franchises here on the channel is Batman. And I'm sure all of you are familiar here with the character of Batman, Bruce Wayne, Cape Crusader, Protector of Gotham. So about a year ago during quarantine when it first started, we made a little movie called Batman Horizon. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. It was a 3-part epic with Batman Horizon Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. And there was a little prelude before called Batman the Mask. So tonight we're going to rewatch Batman Horizon, give you some behind the scenes, and talk about the making and how it all went down and just how we feel about the film. So a little commentary, and awesome.
Well, let's get right into it then. How about that, Chris?
Yeah, Batman Horizon.
You let me know how the auto levels are.
Yeah. Got that nice logo.
Crisp, man, crisp.
So Batman the Mask we're starting up with?
Yep.
So I remember when we filmed
It's about
this.
time the Dark Knight's arrived.
I remember too. I remember it being like it was a late
yeah.
night, last minute. We've got to put something
Yeah.
out kind of thing.
We need your help.
Yeah, and it's funny that, like, it's
Assuming that
in life you
the
sometimes
name
think like
Roman
how one little thing could lead to like a big thing. Like just because
Right.
we did this, led to all that whole 3-part saga.
Black one. They call him the Black Mask.
You got
Yeah.
me as Gordon, which
Run into a few.
it was fun playing the role of Gordon. Like if it was
Society
nowadays, I don't
some
feel
effective
like
saying.
I'd be suited for the role, but it was more one of those
Right.
put together last minute things. But I feel like I made the most of the role and tried to bring light to the character.
Of them wear several masks tied
Definitely.
to his.
And your
So what,
performance as
they're,
Batman really
skulls, right?
brings a lot to the
Yes,
role.
they resemble
It definitely
the reason I called you here
didn't
tonight,
age
Batman,
well for this first
gang.
half, but once you get to part 3, the
You know
voice
the Gotham
really
City
evolves.
Yeah, well, this
Yeah,
is like
I know it.
roleplay style here, but I feel like we still, I feel like something that we should still be proud of is we brought a lot of,
Yeah, I've heard of him. He's a
but even though it may not be the best quality, it still looks better than a lot of other stuff you'd see on the platform, and it still has a great story as well.
I would say, if anything, what we lacked in before, we definitely made up with story, almost always with these types of films.
Yeah.
Oh, not again.
Classic, man. I remember we were doing that, and we're like, we gotta do the Gordon Batman dynamic.
Yeah. I always love when Batman just like disappears like that.
Oh yeah, dude, it's classic. Like,
Yeah.
You gotta have
a nice
it.
pan up.
yep.
I remember when you filmed this, you're like, we're doing a Black Mask scene.
Yep.
I got Sionis Men. It was really cool that we did Black Mask in this. Like I don't really remember the exact reason why we chose him, but I feel as really.
Here, I'm gonna transfer it. I'm sharing my screen for you so you can look at it from my view because YouTube's a little
Yeah,
bit
this YouTube's
behind.
delayed.
Yep.
It could
Right.
be a surprise piece of art.
Well, it's yours for a price.
Majesto
Definitely
Corleone.
classic.
So fun fact here, Majesto.
Is that a
Maybe
price
some of
will
you guys
pay?
know, but we made Horizon like a while back. It's like like I'm sure a lot of you have done this, but we started out just doing roleplay, so we took them seriously. But back then it was more of like roleplay style, and we did a Batman, Nightwing, and like Robin thing, and Majesto is one of the villains in that. So we sort of retooled the character for this, and yeah.
Yeah, J-Dog, to answer your question, how did we not get any copyright problems with the Elfman score? Basically, so long as you're not making any sort of revenue from it, you won't run into any problems. We definitely did get copyright claims, but not strikes. Strikes are the problem on YouTube, and if you run into 3 of them, your channel's done. But we don't run into that really ever. For the most part, as long as you're using it in good faith, they're not gonna come after you. Classic, man. Just it's so nostalgic watching this stuff, you know? Like you think about the
Yeah.
time, like how everything
And
went.
yeah, so fun fact, so the scene, the whole running out scene, basically in the original Batman Horizon, which was more roleplay style, we had a thing of that same meeting, but Harvey Dent was there, so this is sort of a retool of that scene as Majesto was. So with a lot of our projects, we take old ideas that we didn't really get to develop or really get to fruition, and we repurpose it and put it into our newer projects and make it
Yep.
better than ever. And we
Arkham
got that
Asylum.
use of the Michael Giacchino Batman theme before.
I remember we were watching the trailer. I think that was, I mean, really the trailer had just came out.
think it just came out, yeah.
the first look, right, of the suit.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh yeah, we definitely got to throw that in. I remember with every version of Horizon that we did subsequently before, those real old ones, I remember we always had that walking through the jail cells thing, and it's like once we
Yeah.
did our real Horizon, we had to include it because it's just so
Right.
classic.
You can't trap me forever.
Also, guys, I have a bit of a cough, so ignore it.
No.
Oh, the reverb. I always, reverb is a great effect. You can do so much with reverb.
Yeah. And, like, I know as you guys will see later, and maybe some of you have already seen, in part 3 we have a more of an HD Black Mask skin, where in part 3 we moved a lot of to the HD skins. That was our first project where we used the HD skins, but I still really like the, just the vanilla Black Mask.
I would say, like, for the most part, a lot of the vanilla skins aged pretty decently. They really
Yeah.
did, but nothing beats those modern HD skins that we run now.
Right, yeah.
And J-Dog, your favorite Batman score is the Zimmer score. I could agree with you on that. The Dark Knight score is phenomenal. Nothing really beats it. But I'm just very nostalgic for the '89 soundtrack and definitely the rest of
I
Elfman's
feel like
score
the
and
'89
Returns.
soundtrack and even the animated series, it brings more, like, character to it. Like, I feel like... don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, the
I
Zimmer
feel like it
stuff
has
is
a
good, but-
a more grand scale kind of sound to it. Like you
Yeah.
feel the history of Batman.
So here we had our post-credit scene, and we had plans to continue this franchise with Riddler in a film, which is Batman Horizon. So that's how we led
And-
into that.
About the logo, so there was a short time for many of you that don't know that we were going under a different name because of a rebrand, and that was MC Film Team. That was very short-lived and an awful name. I don't know why we decided to run with that. And there was our old logo as well. The '89
was like-
Batman
this
had
was
the
three-
best car.
3 or
I
4
agree
years
with you
ago
on
now.
that, J-Dog. Definitely the '89 Batmobile was the best.
Yeah, love it. Can't wait to see it again in Flashpoint.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, alright, here we got the opening credits. This was
Venom
still a great
Presents.
opening credits.
Oh yeah, I still love this opening credits, and many of the names on here were like. One thing you'll notice with Horizon is a lot of the voice actors had changed subsequently, and that's just because of scheduling issues or what have you. And we still made something of it, but for the most part, the credits are those who voiced the character for the majority of the film.
Yeah. Ethan plays our Penguin.
We got Spider-Storm, Riddler, Gordon, and I think that's about it, right?
Hazard was
Penguin. Oh wait, I'm watching the YouTube. My bad. 10th, that was Josh. So we had he voiced
played our
Alfred.
Red Vortex played some of the extras.
I remember specifically he's one of the walkie-talkie voices. Kevin, Darkest Shadow, real good buddy of ours. Who did he was Falcone.
Yeah.
Keish was, of course, Catwoman. Kai mainly
Vale.
played Vicky Vale, yep. Celine was she Barbara for a short time, or was that mainly
She was
just added?
Barbara. She was Barbara in an iteration, and then we.
Okay,
something-
okay. So not in
something
this
had
one then?
happened. Yeah,
Okay.
Celine had some unfortunate circumstances in her life. That's what we had to recast.
Yeah. And now showing
Mask of Zorro.
Mask of Zorro. I was about to say Mask of Phantasm. Another good movie.
Batman reference.
So remember for this, like, this is one of those things where it's like we've seen it a million times, but it's so a part of the
We still gotta
character
do it.
that if you don't show it, it's almost like a disservice. At least that's the way we
Yeah.
looked at it.
Crime Alley.
My favorite Batman
Yeah, the
villain is
Wayans.
Scarecrow, though. I definitely see. It's really hard for me to pick a favorite. I think for me, it's probably down to Two-Face because of the duality. There's so much you can do with that.
Yeah, I'd say Two-Face, Riddler, I really like, and also Scarecrow. Like, don't get me wrong, the
Riddler, yeah.
Joker's awesome and all, but I just feel like he's overhyped. And,
I feel like he is a little overhyped. Like, I do love the
Well-
Joker, but there's so many more villains to play around with. Like, even Clayface has such an in-depth.
yeah, and even Mr.
character.
Freeze.
Right.
So, fun fact here, I'm not going to get too much into it because it was left for the audience's interpretation, but just pay close attention to the killer's, like, design, and we had something in mind with that we'd continue on a future date. But there's we put a lot of attention to our films and with the designs of these characters. So when making the skin for the killer, we inserted some details that will be paid off.
Yep. We also left it open too, so it's like whether we wanted to use that character in the future or not. That's all I'll say for that. Our voice actor for Bruce Wayne here was Killer Talent, was his username. And he basically, the whole thing was we wanted a different voice actor so it sounded younger and more vulnerable, and he was just able to cater to that performance. So that's why he played younger Bruce. September 7th, Labor Day. And what you'll notice about Batman Horizon as a whole is we structured it by dates and days, holidays, etc. Because we mainly
inspired by Batman: The Long Halloween.
Yep.
A lot of Batman Horizon took inspiration from Batman Year One and Batman: The Long Halloween.
Definitely.
Yeah, so you see, you got people of Gotham. We saw Gordon, Harvey, Bullock, and then Harvey Dent, and then we got the mayor and representatives here.
I think one thing that I'm particularly proud of with our films and with our skins in general is you almost always know who the character is right off the bat, whether it's because of the voice actor's direction or the skin itself. You're really never going to have an empty head on who the character is.
Yeah.
A villain that you feel could have potential is Firefly or Hush. Definitely. Hush for sure. Like, there's a lot you can do with Hush.
Yeah, I definitely agree about Hush. Firefly could be interesting. If you guys noticed, I was pointing at everyone you see in the crowd. Bruce was standing next to Oswald Cobblepot, which plays an important part in this film.
Chris, are you able to hear it okay? Does it sound like it's coming through clear?
Yeah, I could hear it all right.
All right. Can you check out the stream and see how our audio is versus the rest of the audio?
Yeah.
What is the city planning to do about the series Batman?
Let me know if anything needs to be turned up or...
Yeah, it's good.
All right, cool.
Wasn't Batman involved with Black Mask? You bet your ass.
So remember this sequence. Sequences really never turned out how I wanted them to back then, but one of those sequences like this just turned out right. I really wanted that feeling of pressure on the mayor, and part of using that score was it's just so it gets your blood almost like, oh yeah, like what is I'm on a tangent here, but the point is
Like,
the score really what's gonna happen is what I was gonna say there, but the point is scores can really cater to the performance of an actor, or especially just the scene as a whole. A lot of people forget how important the score can be. Classic. You know, this Wayne Manor set has been around since 2018. It's just insane. I remember we grabbed a map for it originally. Well, we edited the Wayne Manor, definitely the interior because it was gutted out, and then Gotham City was all handmade. I cannot believe we were able to accomplish that. Granted, today that quality would not hold up, but it's still just insane. And one thing I really love is how we did the whole Bruce and Alfred dynamic. You know, I think we really nailed it for the most part.
Yeah.
J-Dog, when I first saw the mayor got assassinated, I thought it was Deadshot. I see how you can think that, definitely.
And we got our first time in the Batcave.
I think it's just amazing how every time I watch this scene, I'm always getting that same feeling. It's like it sets you up for the adventure kind of feeling.
It's really nice.
And we got Josh there as Lex Luthor. He was a really good Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
All the way back from Superman election year.
And in our previous stuff, like we did a Superman project that took place in this universe as well, and we're setting up a plot of Lex running for president, and that will be continued.
Yep.
The story goes on.
And I really like how we did the detective aspect of Bruce too. We definitely got that down.
These skins really still do hold up. Like I know I mentioned that before, but
movies either.
Oh, definitely. I mean, some of the suits themselves could have been a little better. Alfred's looks pretty good. Bruce's is a little off, but the faces still look alright.
Yeah.
After the False Face Society was taken down, his plan to overthrow Gotham.
I remember how proud I was after making that Bruce Wayne face, too, because it just looked like Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. It's really awesome when you make a skin and then it's like that's the character. Like in its Spidey Christmas when our Bruce Wayne looks like
Oh, yeah.
not Bruce Wayne, but our sorry about that. Our Tony Stark looks like Robert Downey.
Oh, yeah. I'm still blown away by the fact that it's almost a perfect resemblance.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Little harkening back to Batman Forever. You'll notice there's a lot of those influences because at the time I had just watched Batman Forever, and that film holds a special place in my heart. So I always try to incorporate that aspect of that Batman, despite people hating that interpretation. There's a lot of good things in that film, for sure, that I tried to bring to Batman Horizon. And then, of course, we've got Nanda Parbat with Ra's al Ghul here.
Yeah, that Ra's al Ghul skin is just so nice.
Oh, it's on another level. I mean, it still holds up. And that actor, Dr. Faustus,
Dr.
I believe.
Faustus,
Yep,
yeah.
Faustus. Yeah,
Even though this scene is, he did a great portrayal of the character. And even though this scene is just very quick, we get a feel of who Ra's was and what went down with him and Bruce.
Yeah. Something we were able to fix later on in our films was the pacing, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I feel like a lot of that came with this. We didn't have a script here.
Yeah. We had a plot outline for the most part, and then I remember us improvising a lot of it in game.
Yeah.
Last
And
second
then as
kind
we
of
went
thing.
on, we added more and more.
I have no idea how this could have happened, Commissioner. There's even a ton of security at the press conference.
Could have been any ordinary person who did this, Detective.
Are you suggesting that someone with superpowers like Superman or the Red Streak instead?
And here we got Bullock
This
and
person who
Jim.
committed the crime wouldn't have been a hero.
Who could it be then? The most wanted list is empty as of late. The last big criminal to make an impact was Black Mask.
I remember the day I edited that in, and I was just infinitely proud of myself.
Crime rate's blown up
Amazing.
Commissioner, the Batman has done nothing but help Gotham City.
I mean, as much as I hate the Bat, he's got a point. There are signs and evidence that Batman was the one who took down the False Face Society at the Gotham Art Museum.
Yeah, what evidence?
J-Dog says, I like the animated series feel Horizon has. Thank you, that's really cool. Yeah, that's the thing, too.
Yeah.
You'll notice a lot of the designs were inspired by that as well.
This proves nothing.
Like Harvey Bullock in
If anything,
particular.
it only proves my point that they were
And his
working
source.
together.
Anthony
And
says,
the
where's the
summer
bat bulge? That's in the R-rated cut, my friend.
Case on our own.
Yeah, which is not coming out.
No, not anytime soon. That's going to be in the Red and Blue Vault for a while.
Anyway,
Yeah. Disclaimer, we're joking.
Yeah. Arkham Asylum. I'm still really proud of our Arkham Asylum set.
Yeah, even
remember-
the GCPD. It's
yeah.
simple, but it's really
It does a lot. Like, a lot of times simplicity goes a
goes a
long
long
way.
way. Yeah. And we got Black Mask returning.
Gotham City.
See, if you were watching Batman the Mask and then you saw Batman Horizons shortly after, you would have had that feeling of, oh, that's that
Yeah.
cool character returning. And I love that feeling when it's like, oh, it's that character returning. That's why we've tried to invoke that kind of feeling in stuff like Daredevil Means and Ends, even. When Spider-Man appears, you get that invocation of, oh, I saw him in the last Marvel project. Isn't that cool he's in
Press
this?
was put down by society when the GCPD struggled for months.
I'm not here to discuss that either.
What are you here to discuss then?
Did the murder of the mayor have any meaning or significance to you?
I had no association with the Batman. I didn't care about how he ran the city.
Connectivity is always nice. It's nice and like you don't gotta watch everything, but it's always nice to be rewarded for watching something else.
Definitely, yeah. The reward is...
Yeah. And this scene was really menacing as well. We inspired this scene by the scene where Bruce visits Lex and BVS in
Yep.
prison.
That's why the lighting is flashing the way it is. And then this, too. Something that I'm a big fan of that I see a lot of people missing out on with Machinimas is when they don't muffle interior music or interior sounds while you're outside, and then vice versa while you're inside. But it does a lot for the atmosphere.
Hey, you
Yeah.
This is a private casino.
And we inspired this Riddler appearance off of his early days, which was in the Telltale games.
Yep.
Hey,
Batman walking down the hall reminds me of Arkham Asylum for some reason. I could see how you would think that, definitely.
might be. Just be careful.
So we got a pretty steady amount of people watching. Thank you guys very much for staying tuned.
So, fun fact, a lot of the times when we do this, like, background characters can be skins that are repurposed, or
Oh, yeah.
a lot of times they're originally made from scratch, but, two skins that we didn't think we were using, because at this time our Spider-Man series was on hold because we were repurposing it, for a better narrative, that we wanted to enjoy, more story that we wanted to tell, more than the one we already had, so, that skin right there was our J. Jonah Jameson, and then there's a point in this scene where you can also see the Norman Osborn skin we're going to use.
Don't try and call your trust on GCPD. I disconnected all the phone lines in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, of course, Aiden voicing Joe Uracil,
Yeah, Red Vortex, as you know him as Logan in The Outbreak.
who not so much anymore, but in the past used to play quite a few characters for us.
You better choose your words wisely. Riddle me this. Without fingers I point. Without arms I strike. Without feet I run. What am I? The answer is a clock. And the clock is ticking.
And then the trend here is that Riddler always leaves behind a green spray painted question mark.
Hi, Jimmy. And Max, I saw what you deleted.
And then this scene, of course.
Oh, Harvey, you're home.
See, this is our first introduction to Harvey's personal life, so that is Grace Dent, and then we got Harvey here, and this sort of starts out the fact that Harvey Dent isn't who we think he is on the surface.
Can't think of anyone who would have it out for the mayor.
If you're entirely unsure right now, how do you plan on solving the case at all?
Justice is like flipping a coin. One side wins and one side loses. The bad guys, they always
Chris, just letting you know, your typing's a little
they go right back to
loud.
the
Okay, yeah, I know.
All good, just letting you know.
Of us to take care of what needs to be done.
The coin
Yeah,
flip,
so-
man. We definitely did a
Oh, wait,
better job
Celine
with the
was-
coin flip in part 3. What?
Celine was, So Celine was Grace, we forgot that.
No, that wasn't Celine. That was, I forget her name. That was an actress that we subbed in.
Wait, no, I know who you're talking about, yeah.
But, Ninja Meals played Grace Dent in part 3. Oh, Josh, hey man, welcome to the stream.
Shame. You'll find the person responsible. Oh, and before I forget,
We got Alfred and Bruce.
Mr. Dent.
And the like we said before, the dynamic between Alfred and Bruce it's always carries the film.
Yep.
And your portrayal as
Hey, Bruce.
Batman and
How've you
Josh's
been?
portrayal as
Been a while
Alfred
since we last
was
talked.
excellent.
Doing good, Harv.
It's a shame, oftentimes, we had to sub out actors. You know, it really is a shame, but
You can't do it alone. And I figured you would want to help me seeing as you're my long
when things happen, people, you know, I mean, that's how
Yeah.
the cookie crumbles. But by the end of it, I mean, you can look back and go, wow, that actor had a really good performance. That actor had a really good performance, and it's really better if you can just appreciate everybody's performances at the end of the day. They all brought their own
help me solve the case.
to the character.
Yeah, and who are those people?
You have to wait and see, and meet me tomorrow at my office at 2 p.m.
All right, Harvey. It was nice catching up. I'll see you at 2.
I honestly enjoy the early days of Batman when he's more green and a lot more angry and violent. I definitely agree with you there, J-Dog.
And yeah, like, a lot of-
When Bullock and I consulted him about the case, he denied everything about the case.
We could have just jumped straight to Robin, but these days are important of
And
Batman on his own.
there was definitely talks of it too at the time. Like very early on, we're like, yeah, let's just throw Robin and Robin from the get-go. Even the original interpretation of Horizon had Robin as the
Seems like a
the
good
kind of
idea.
counterpoint in the
Batman took
film,
down Falcone Crime
Yeah.
Black Mask. I'm sure he'd be able to aid us in finding out.
or centerpiece of the film.
Batman wanted to help. Wouldn't he have
For everyone watching in chat, I'd love to make this interactive as well. So I want to ask all of you, like, what was your, I mean, if some of you haven't seen the film, and maybe this is the first time for some of you, everyone is welcome. But what is your favorite thing about Batman Horizon?
I suppose so.
I hate this idea, but we need all the help we can get.
One thing I really loved about this scene is the dichotomy between Bruce and the GCPD here, and of course Harvey. He's trying to stir them or deter them away from involving Batman with the case because he doesn't want to get involved with the case. So it's super unique having that dichotomy.
What happened?
Last night, it was attacked. We need a detective down here ASAP.
Yeah.
Cold down there.
And then of course you've got the old conveniences. You've got the netherite phone because you were so vanilla.
So, who do you think did it?
I have a lead on it possibly being Carmine Falcone.
Thought he was in prison.
No, he got out on bail.
Damn, I fought hard for him to get locked up.
It's been nice, but I've got to.
And then of course you've got the voice break where he gets a little bit grittier because he's talking about Carmine Falcone.
Everything being set up there.
One thing that I really regret with this film was the amount of fade-ins and fade-outs. It's something that I definitely fixed in our later films.
Yeah, and something that I'm gonna say positive since you said a negative. I mean, I'm not calling anyone out here or trying to give any specifics, it's just commenting, but something that I really like we do here is that we take time to develop the world, develop the characters, develop the motivations. I feel like a lot of these machinimas nowadays, not ours, but like in general, with overall just jump into the action, just have a centerpiece, and don't really worry about character, story, and plot.
I definitely concur with you there, yeah.
Yeah.
J-Dog and Max both say the story and the plot are the best part. That's really awesome, guys. Thank you. We really tried with this one to make a story that kind of grips you. It's a lot to watch, but if you can watch through it, you're definitely rewarded.
Yeah.
And of course, what we're watching here is what I consider to be the penultimate edition of Batman Horizon. It's got some color correction, it's got some film noise, it's got a little bit different stuff. There's some added scenes. We won't be uploading this. This is just exclusive for our viewing, and also it's just a convenience on our part too, so we don't have to sit through 3 different end credits, etc. Because if you didn't know, Batman Horizon was split into 3 individual parts, with the mask also having its own end credits as well. So we would have sat through 4 different end credits.
Look at you, you're still alive.
And this was unique too. Our Riddler obviously had black hair, and we wanted to go for the comic accurate orange look.
Yeah.
So we thought the only way we could really accomplish that was to have him dyed the hair.
Yeah. And another thing, the scene was also inspired by the Batman, like the Batman, the movie coming out with Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson, with, the bomb in his head.
Do you want to hear a riddle?
Batman Horizon Remastered. J-Duck says, instead of Batman Return to Arkham, it's Batman Return to Horizon. There's been talks of it, but it's something that we'll probably never do, and really... The reason that we're never gonna do it is because it's fine as is, and what it boils down to is some things don't need to be remade or redone. I think it's better just as a museum piece of the time and the era of Red and Blue, and it's probably better left that way.
And I just feel like going forward with the story instead of digressing.
Going back, yep.
Yeah.
J-Dog says, Max says, it definitely feels original while still being faithful. It doesn't feel like some random copy of a Batman story, but also doesn't stray very far away. It all just kind of comes together and works. Thank you very much, dude. I would agree.
Thank you, Max.
In a very full of myself tone. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, we are definitely proud of Horizon for all its shortcomings that it did have on the visual front. I think we really put together a nice story. And you know what they say, I mean, if you're proud of something, I'd be proud, you know, like, you put the time and energy into it, you know.
You really think this is a good idea?
J-Duck says the Batman is going to be sick. Definitely. I'm very hyped for the Batman. Matt
And
Reeves
here we
looks
got-
like he's bringing a completely different interpretation.
Yeah, and here we got Batman coming down for the first time. Also, to digress for a second, we saw Kevin Darko General portraying
Holy
the Falcone there, which was a really unique take on the character. And he did a good job.
Definitely. Something that I really loved about the irony here, we were talking a bit over it, but
So, Jim, what's
there's
with
an
the
irony
book?
with Batman being right above them.
I
Meanwhile,
see you brought some company along.
Gordon is talking about how Bruce isn't gonna show up.
As well as Detective Harvey Bullock.
And that's really unique because you've got Batman right above them, who of course is Bruce
What's the
Wayne.
case?
It's that irony. And then you've got the little side bet going on between Harvey and Bullock, and that's really just to showcase their characters and give more depth. And actually, I remember that being an improvised thing. I'm not sure if it was Hooded Fox who played Harvey Dent. Hooded Fox, right, Chris?
Why do you
That sound
think
right?
Riddler is at
I believe he played Harvey Dent in that scene. I remember him
Yeah.
saying, "We got to throw something in here," and I was like, "Well, what do you got, man?" And he goes, "Well, let's do this little side bet thing." And I'm like, "Oh, that's good." So of course they exchanged the little emerald there because it's Minecraft and it's meant to be money. But
Yeah, and then another thing, and yes, Max says, "Wait, Batman is Bruce Wayne." Good one.
yeah,
But something I also really liked that we did here was going back to what I was saying before, how we didn't want to jump into other heroes right away. We wanted to have it where Batman is just the sole hero, and we really like the dynamic of Bruce working with Harvey, Jim, and Bullock.
yep.
And here we got the little. This was inspired by a scene in Gotham where we have Riddler's just Edward Nashton is upcoming.
Your mother.
No.
It's basically showcasing his twisted mind and how the GCPD had twisted his mind even further by treating him so poorly.
My hands cold and bleak.
Yep.
It's the warm hearts they seek. The answer is death.
And of course we end on that somber note of just a sick and twisted riddle.
If he really is the Riddler, it's a shame. He was a good person at heart and didn't deserve the treatment he was given.
I can see that, Jim, but you have to put it behind you and come to terms with the fact that he might be the Riddler.
I know, but how are we going to stop him and find him if he was the one who murdered the mayor?
J-Duck says, "I like to think that Harvey is just jealous that Gordon and Bullet and Batman are better partners."
Renee Montoya? This is
I mean,
Bob's office.
maybe. I mean, why else would Harvey hate Batman so much without reason? I mean, there's your reason, right?
Loeb's been kidnapped.
And of course, if you hadn't seen Horizon by now, you'd be like,
Boss.
"Loeb's kidnapped? That's,
Hey, boss, what
I mean,
the
who
hell are
could
you?
have done that?"
Help! Help!
Mm.
Hey boss, what the hell you doing down there?
Just pull me up.
And then here we got
What do you mean, too
what's
many
going on
hours
with
long? So why were you down
Falcone.
The bat. He paid me a visit.
A line that was missed
Alright.
for me that I didn't
I
really
just
hear
got
there,
on
but
bail
it knows
regarding
definitely in
the
this is there's a line where he says, "You've been eating too many calzones." And I remember that was an improvised line by Hazard Gaming. I think one thing to take away from Horizon, or really any film in general, there's a lot of this in Hollywood, is let your actors improvise from time to time, because there's a good chance they might come up with a better line than you could ever write yourself, you know?
Yeah, let them have fun with the character, let them get into it.
Definitely.
Also, we got our first introduction of the Penguin here. And if you notice, I mean, the
Beautifully
Penguin-
performed by Ethan,
Yeah.
by the way.
Penguin's guys here are the same guy who was responsible for the murder in the beginning. So, sort of picking up on those clues that Penguin is the one responsible for the murders, and yeah.
And that theme, too, is one thing you'll realize that we really drove home with Batman Horizon. That Penguin theme is from the animated series, and Shirley Walker, I believe, is the composer for the animated series, did a wonderful job, and character
Yeah.
themes are everything when you're doing a superhero movie. If you're not including character themes, you're not doing it
That
right.
can't be good. Montoya, how did Loeb get kidnapped?
This was, I think, one of the first times we really played around with green screen in a film.
Yeah, and here we got Renee Montoya, who from this point on becomes part of the GCPD cast and plays an important part.
We knew we had to include Renee Montoya. We knew we had to include Harvey Bullock just as much as we had to include Gordon, because when you've got the dynamic of the GCPD,
Yes, the
I mean,
GCPD has been calling
then
him
you've
the
got
Riddler.
a great set of characters in your film. I mean, there's so much you can do with that.
You know. And the funny thing, going back to your with the green screen, a scene like this was seen in the recent Batman trailer, where like there's the screens like this and talking like the GCPD. So it's always fun when we do an idea in our films and then it actually ends up like happening in something else.
It's always fun. And I think one thing that's really cool about this is it's so innovative, and I hate to be that guy, but before this, I never saw this in a Machinima. I could be mistaken, but this whole Riddler sequence with the green screen video and all that, just it has such a scale to it that I think is just unmatched with even some of the stuff we've been able to do today. This whole finale sequence just has a draw to it because of those sequences, like the Riddler on the TV or, you know, etc.
Yeah.
Are you going to notify the rest of the GCPD?
We got Alfred.
No, if I tell them...
J-Dog says, by letting actors improvise lines, it makes them feel like they're actually becoming the character rather than just them playing it, if that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, yeah. And that's what I was talking about, too, is like, if you let them have fun with the character, there's almost 90% chance that they can write a better line than you ever could. Because they know that character by that point. They're in the headspace, and, you know, that's just how it becomes.
And here we got a flashback to when Batman took down Falcone, and as you can notice, the bat suit's a bit different here because it's like one of his earlier suits, like his first like bat suit.
One thing that you'll notice, and this is a common thing between me and Chris's dynamic, I remember during this time we were arguing about the eye color of Batman because for whatever reason I had made the eyes brown, but Bruce Wayne's eyes are actually blue, and I remember us getting a little debacle about that. Just a little fun.
The body actor had put on the wrong skin.
Oh, that's what it was. Right.
Yeah. Madison and I got the right skin, and then the body actor put on the wrong skin, and the scene was already filmed by the time it was like too late. Also, this is all really impressive scene. I like how the shots and just how the way it went.
I do like. It's obviously aged. There's much more you can do in Blockbuster now than what we were ever able to do here. But the way we utilize vanilla Minecraft is so unique. You know, I mean, we really tried.
Yeah.
I think it shows, too.
Very impressive.
I feel like the grand score by Elfman really, really amps up this sequence.
And this is a really cool scene, the first time we see Jim see Batman.
It would seem Riddler has quite the number of cards, Master Bruce. Last I checked, he was flying solo.
I thought he was as well, but Riddler must have gained a following after the casino attack.
Well, glad we chose Riddler or Falcone or Black Mask. They couldn't take down the
Here we got
Batman to
our
save their lives.
start to the final battle. It's always fun to have interactions between the goons.
Oh, the goons are just everything with these superhero things.
He's got a plan.
That banter just... I remember one thing was, whenever I was editing this, the punching sound effects were too loud, and then they ended up being too quiet, and it's always really important to take away editing that. Double check everything before you render it, because once it's done, and you've got the deadline, it's like, go. You can't go back.
You should, since we're coming close to part 2, you should tell the story of what had happened with a lot of part 2's blockbuster recordings.
In what regard?
It got lost?
I don't remember. Wait. Oh, because we had that whole cemetery sequence and stuff?
No, remember, like, a lot of it got lost and you had to, like, redo it all in one night?
Oh, yeah, so...
the
editing of Batman Horizon Part 2, I remember I spent about all night, just about all night, if not the night into the next morning, plus afternoon, you get the point. It had all been lost. My computer had lost power, and I had to completely re-edit it, and I remember I finished it that same day, so I was editing from night to day to night to day. I don't think I slept even because I was so stressed out about I need to finish this. I can't go to sleep and have a good night's sleep knowing that my whole film is just that it's destroyed. That's an awful feeling. You put all that time into it and then it goes,
Yeah.
But I think what's really cool about when you do lose something, even though it absolutely sucks, is you can always do it better the next time around.
Save you.
The score here by Elliot Goldenthal in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin is just awesome. It really elevates the Riddler. That shot reminds me of the final shot from Batman '89. Awesome, man. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff where we were trying to recreate shots to give you that feeling or that little bit of nostalgia. Even if you didn't know where it came, you'd go, "Oh, it's that," And of course, at this time, Batman is considered a myth, so that's why you see Riddler talking to him as if he's surprised that he's a human.
I freed Loeb. Your game is done.
That score, man, is just insane.
Yeah, and everyone watching, with part 1 coming to a close, we were trying to really, show that Riddler is a threat and he's not to be messed with, and this is Batman's, obviously he's dealt with Falcone and Black Mask and, crime bosses and little villains, so this is his first, really big villain here.
Yeah.
And, since we're coming to a close to part 1, we thought, and you can see, what Commissioner Loeb is really going through here, and in this scene he sort of realizes that maybe Batman is not the villain I intend him to be. And with part 1 coming to a close, we're gonna do a little 10-minute intermission for you guys watching to maybe get a snack, go to the bathroom. We'll be back in 10 minutes after part 1's over.
Yep, definitely. J-Dog says, I like how you're adding in all these references without seeming like you're just ripping it off. Yeah, dude, definitely. You'll notice in part 2, there's a little bit more blatant of a scene in particular where it's very clear where it came from. But for the most part, we were always trying to change it up while keeping it faithful to whatever we were taking from. And that's mainly just because Batman has such a history, and we wanted to include some of that history in a Horizon.
Riddler wouldn't have taken out his own men.
Wait, do you hear that? It sounds like robotic footsteps?
It's definitely cool we did the Riddler bots. These are definitely inspired by the Batman Arkham games.
Oh, no, you don't.
Take cover!
Yep. And a lot of there's meant to be a heightened there's stakes right now, and you're meant to feel stressed out with the characters, as we saw what Gordon and everyone was trying to do, and now Bruce is up to.
I think it's time we get started. Riddle made this. I'm a number with a couple of friends. Quarter a dozen, and you'll find me again. What am I?
We need to retreat. There are too many drones. We're going to die after we don't leave. Now.
What about Loeb? We can't be sleeping. Dude, you're over there now. For all we know, they could be dead.
If they really are dead, we can't risk ending up in a body bag. The best decision is to sit here and wait.
No, Officer Finn, you're right. Montoya, we need to get out of here.
Little break from all the chaos, we cut to Carmine.
Who's there? Batman, I already told you. I had nothing to do with the mayor. Ah!
J-Dog says, I feel a lot of similarities to the Lego Batman games, and I don't know why. It's definitely because of the '89 soundtrack, man. I definitely know where you're coming from on that.
3.
Way to go, Dark Knight. Perhaps you are worthy of my superior
That and a lot of the sets were actually taken from the Batman games. Believe it or not. Because to me, that game is so rooted in my childhood. I definitely wanted to include some of that.
Yeah. And again, the stakes in this scene, you're really meant to be on the edge of your seat. Is Loeb gotta live? Is Loeb gotta die?
And then, of course, the brutal twist. The score always elevates this scene for me. A scene that, had I not watched it about 50 times, would probably give me chills like it did the first time. Alright, well that does it for part 1. We're going to take a brief intermission here while we get our
we'll
stuff
see you guys
together.
in 10 minutes. Hope you guys enjoyed part 1. If none of you are taking a break like we are, maybe put some questions in the channel. We'll answer them when we get back. So,
Yep.
see you soon.
See you soon.
Subject for today. We can be either loved or hypnotic. We can be either loved or hypnotic. We can be either loved or hypnotic. We can be either loved or anything. We can be either loved or hypnotic. We can be either loved or hypnotic. We can be either loved or hypnotic. We can be either loved or anything. Subject for today.
Back when I was in the academy, we would follow every toast with a song.
That's an interesting twist.
Christopher Robin, what exactly is doing nothing?
Well, I'm told it means going along.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. If you are still here, then we love you.
Music.
Hope you
We're
enjoyed.
gonna kiss all of you.
We're back and ready to watch part 2. Oh shoot! I gotta get rid of that. Okay.
Vicky Vale from the Gotham Times here. We're live outside.
So we're off of part 1.
It's been 1 month since
What just happened with Loeb? A lot's going on. And we'll hear in part 2. Vicky Vale. A little like catch up. And this is our introduction of Barbara Gordon.
Yep.
The eater.
Hey, Dad? The Riddler really that forensic scientist you told me about who always...
And of course, the introduction of Barbara Gordon is one of the staples of part 2.
The GCPD is doing everything
Yeah.
the power we have to find him.
It's a subtle arc that's in the background, but it's important at the same time.
Yeah. It all adds up.
Oh, by the way, have you seen my presentation for school yet?
No, I haven't yet. Where is it?
It's right in my room. You can't miss it.
And of course, this is one of those major sequences. Jada said, now, was Loeb a corrupt cop in this world? Yes, he was.
Mm-hmm.
But a
But
very
it's sort
corrupt
of-
cop.
Yeah.
But it's implied more than shown.
Yeah.
I'm sure that Batman can help take down the Riddler, considering he took down both Falcone and Black Mask. He must be such an amazing person to sacrifice so
Isaiah
much
says
to
medicine is a
help
staple of
out.
my life. Thank you very much, good sir.
Oh shit! I'm late for school. I love you, Dad.
Love you, Barbara.
And of course, with part 2, one of the major staples is, of course, the ball scene as well.
Yeah, and with Barbara, she's invested in Batman. She is intrigued by him, and she wants to help Gotham like he does, and that's set up throughout this part.
One of the more somber things of part 2 is, of course, Batman's regret on how he deals
Yeah.
with what happened in part 1.
That is a big theme of this.
The introduction of Giovanni as Lucius Fox.
Still human at the end of the day.
Thanks, Lucius. It means a lot. Still seems off about Riddler.
Because your typing's a bit loud. Just letting you know.
Riddler couldn't have been in two places at once.
What about the murder of the mayor and the incident at the
And Lucius is always an important part of Batman, and we wanted to bring him in here. And
If you're bringing in Alfred, you sort of have to bring in Lucius for a grand scale Batman story.
I suggest you figure out every guest present at the press conference. You'll likely narrow down the suspects.
It's an excellent idea. Falcone did say to me that it may have been someone at the press conference who was involved.
To the GCPD, do you have any idea where the Riddler is?
He hasn't been seen since September 8th, and the GCPD is doing
And then
all we
here
can
we're
to
catching up
figure
with
out where this
GCPD,
guy
and
is. We even tried to personal ties to
a lot of references in this scene. So that's Joe. That's Joe from The Flash, who, as you probably know from the Flash TV show. And we also had our own take on the character in Flash Zero Hour. So that's sort of the connecting. So we got the GCPD, the Metropolis Police, and also the Central City Police Department as well.
Yep.
So we really wanted to show the narrative that what's going on is in Gotham is a serious threat that really made there be communication between all three of them.
If there's anything we can all do for you, we're here for you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
And of course, the GCPD is going to other police departments for help because Gotham is very rapidly becoming insufferable for just them alone to deal with.
Yeah, it just gets worse and worse.
We've got a little bit of the animated series motif in there when Bruce goes into the cave.
Yeah.
How did the meeting with Lucius go?
And I think
Come up with any
this
leads
is
on the Riddler case?
our first real introduction to Josh as Alfred, because in part 1 it was mainly voiced by Frog, if I'm not mistaken.
There must be two killers with two very different motives.
I see, but how do you plan on narrowing down the suspects?
Falcone told me that he heard it may have been someone at the press conference. No one from the GCPD would be responsible, neither Gordon, Bullock, or Loeb. Montoya wasn't even at the press conference.
Again, another scene just trying to showcase Bruce's detective ability.
Yeah.
My father had issues with the Cobblepots for years, but I don't see a reason he would murder the mayor over an old feud. There is no way Harvey would do it. He's been like a brother to me. I trust he wouldn't do something crazy like that. Cobblepot was next to me, and I didn't see him make any gestures or signals to anyone.
Who do you think is the one behind all the murders then, if not Riddler?
I have no idea. Even with all the detective training during the 3 years I left Fernanda Parbat, I still come up empty. With the help of Gordon, Bullock, and Harvey, I still have no clue. The killer could show up again at any given moment. We have to be ready for both the Riddler's return and the killer.
Why don't you just find the Riddler via the signal?
Showcasing Bruce and Alfred
He
once
hasn't
again.
broadcasted a signal yet, but when he does, I'll be ready. I can track him down straight from the signal now that I know his tech.
Is the annual Wayne Enterprises ball still on? That was supposed to be in the coming days.
I don't know if I could take that chance. If the murderer shows up again and nobody is prepared, it'll only be bad news.
The ball will get your mind off everything, and will give you a chance to clear your head.
It'll be a perfect time for the murderer to strike.
If you wish to, we can cancel the ball.
We can't. The ball's been going on for a few years. It was a tradition started by my parents. I'm not going to let a few murders get in the way of a charity.
What would we do to make sure everyone is safe, sir?
The GCPD will have increased security, along with Gordon being on the lookout.
And then here we go. We got our first introduction of Penguin's right-hand man, Ignatius.
Do you think it's the Riddler?
I hope so, but an alert showing his location would have appeared via the tracker.
I haven't heard anything about Stag Industries in years.
You know their slogan, you've heard it. The People Company.
We thought it'd be interesting to introduce Simon Stagg as well.
Yeah.
It's profit over everything. It's odd. I don't recognize the thugs either.
Anyone got any questions for us?
These aren't Nigma's men.
What do you think they want from Stag Industries?
I don't know, Al, but I'll soon find out.
Search the building. Find Stag. Bring me my diamond stuff.
The introduction of Ignatius Ogilvy.
Yep.
What day today is?
October 12th. Why?
I know it's the 12th, but what makes today so special?
Today is Columbus Day.
And we use that penguin theme once again.
A holiday?
And of course, harkening back to that theme again of the holidays, which plays a much larger part in part 2.
Nice.
Here we really start to find out like what actually is going on.
What about Stag himself?
Don't worry, you won't be any trouble. Stand back. What was that?
It's the bat!
I don't think so. It looks like a...
And then coming up is the introduction of a very important character to the Batman mythos, Selena Kyle, Catwoman. And her suit is based off of one of her purple. We decided, as we said, we didn't want to rush into this world. We wanted to build everything up and have it progress. So we decided to use her classic costume rather than the black suit.
Which we did end up using in part 3, though.
Yeah, because that was sort of like the bookend.
Yep.
You can just call me Catwoman.
What are you gonna do now?
Hold on, boys. Let's not be irrational. I'll give you the diamond.
Wait a minute. It's fake! Fire!
Of course, very early on, we're trying to showcase the dynamic that Catwoman and Batman have in the comics.
Yeah. This is the start to Batman and Catwoman. And when I say relationship, I don't mean as in like them like dating. I mean just their, like you would say like Batman and Alfred's relationship, to start to their story together here. And it is touched on, but we don't go in depth with it because there's years and years worth of story of Gotham to explore. So just setting things up here.
What's going on?
As in, Riddler, Penguin, and Batman and Catwoman are all starting off in this film. And as you see, there was Simon Stagg, and they took him out.
And in this, we were really, really, really trying to showcase Batman as a detective, because at this point, we hadn't really shown that much. Especially in part 3, we show his detective vision, which was, once we get to that, I'll explain how that was done.
Yeah.
Brayton 80 in the audience. Hey there, N6.
What are you doing?
What's going on, fellas?
I could ask you the same question.
I came to stop a break-in at Stag Industries.
Well then, it seems we're polar opposites. Well, I came to Stag Industries to steal a diamond going for high prices.
You know what Ignatius was
And again, character motivation just is
I have no
everything.
Why do you care who he's working for?
Exactly.
I believe he is the one responsible for the murders not tailoring to the GCPD.
I have no problem with helping you in your little crusade. If it means I'm getting the diamond, I'm in.
It's been over a month since the last incident.
And now back to the GCPD story.
And the mission is over.
You do know that this isn't the end, and Batman always has a plan.
Listen, we're not gonna get anywhere with the case if Bruce never attends any of the meetings, especially.
And here we're really building up Harvey's sort of
has been my best friend.
his sort of resentment towards Bruce and Garrett's falling out.
Gone for 3 years.
Mhm.
He just hasn't been the same person.
Bruce Wayne is a very busy man and has Wayne Enterprises to run.
And then, of course, Harvey doesn't like that. I mean, he's being told big deal,
Big Muck
but
could kill me, and Bruce wouldn't give a shit. Even if the two presidential candidates.
and of course we're setting up Two-Face here, but what this really harkens back to is Batman the Animated Series with the bad Harv kind of dynamic.
How the hell can we trust Batman?
Yeah, and there we also got a reference when Harvey's like, he can also kill two presidential candidates and he couldn't care, which were Lex Luthor and a reference to John Jones, which is Martian Manhunter in the comics.
Yep. Connectivity was really important to us, but also doing it in moderation.
Yeah.
We searched the entire GCP database and it's led us nowhere.
Finding the Riddler is still top priority, but I figured something out that will lead us in the right direction for the murders. Loeb and Falcone weren't killed by the same person. Riddler had his own vendetta, but whoever is pulling off these other murders, they're random. I see no connection. Simon Stagg along with them. It makes no sense.
What happened to Simon Stagg? He was alive just a few hours ago.
A man by the name of Ignatius Ogilvy.
Their dynamic is really what carries this film.
Along with killing.
Oh yeah, certainly.
When I arrived on the scene, a woman going by Catwoman had been fighting several of the thugs, but I managed to take the rest out.
Did you just say Catwoman?
Yes, you heard right. I did.
What's with the superheroes in Gotham dressing up as animals?
While I was interrogating Ignatius, he mentioned he was working for someone.
Harvey Bullock was the comedic relief.
Yeah.
But in like a natural, it wasn't just like forced in jokes.
It was never the intention to make him the comedic relief, but it just sort of worked.
Yeah.
9/8 was International Literacy Day, and the murder of Carmine Falcone.
October 12th is today. Columbus Day. Same day Simon Stagg was murdered.
The murderer seems to have a pattern. Whenever he kills,
It's always on a holiday.
Yep.
There are some lines after you've seen these quite a few times where you just know the entire line.
Seems to work good enough.
Jim, check the GCP database for Ignatius Ogilvy.
There are 0 results.
Holiday must be smart. He knew to cover his tracks by sending Ignatius in, for the fact that he would be difficult to trace.
What will we do now?
Catwoman was only after the diamond. I doubt she had any involvement with Ignatius. She's not a hero, but she won't get in our way. She's only helping with the case for the diamond.
I love that it's almost constantly on such a scale. This film always feels so grand.
Yeah.
You're right, that is not a holiday. But some of the most important people in Gotham will be at the ball. And it seems that
Stakes, man, they just...
I won't inform Bruce and we'll be
And the
discussing.
soundtrack really like sort of like it gives you that like antsy feeling here.
Yeah, it really elevates you.
And with these films, you can't just have like a good like soundtrack. Everything comes together: the soundtrack, the voice acting, the story, the skins.
This is that scene I was talking about when we were watching part 1 that is almost a blatant ripoff, but it's there almost as a tribute to Batman Forever, and it definitely something I wanted in there.
It's almost ready.
And one thing was like Chris's Riddler laugh just knocks you out, man. I mean,
yeah, really.
One of the things very early on is just that Riddler laugh.
And as you can see, from the appearance that he wore in prior.
Harkening back to that theme, because again, theme songs with these characters are very important. See, the unique thing about using a character theme is even when that character's not in the scene, if you use that theme, there's something implied that it's something to do with that character, or it's orchestrated by that character, which we'll get to later. This is the beginning of a very exciting sequence.
This is sort of like at this point in the story, like the events of part 1, and now we're finding out like where is he.
Of course, the 1 month time jump, so there's a little bit to fill in the gap of.
Barbara, have you got it ready for the ball yet?
A consistent trend with the older films too is the black screens just run too long.
Sorry, I was just
I'm proud of you, Barbara. It's always good to practice.
Oh, Dad, guess what?
What?
I've narrowed down Batman's identity down to Oliver Queen, Lex Luthor, and Ted Kord, because someone who's
References to Green Arrow, Lex Luthor, and Blue Beetle.
Yep. Again with the connectivity, but in moderation.
Yeah, and then at the ball, you could also see that Barbara sort of looking after them, and Oliver is seen with Felicity Smoke, who was from the Arrow TV show and who he had a relationship with.
Yep.
Ted Kord is seen, and Lex also makes an appearance at the ball.
Master Bruce, looking quite spiffy in the tuxedo, if I may say so myself.
I'm worried, Al. What if the holiday killer strikes?
Don't worry, sir. The entire GTPD is here as well as plenty of security. You'll have an amazing night. This will give you a chance to get your mind off of all.
And this is one of those scenes where Bruce is like, he's sort of addicted to being Batman, and that's something we want to explore even more in the future. And sort of Alfred is that sort of, he helps him, and
it's almost very similar to like a drug addiction or some other sort of addiction. He can't break away from it. It's almost like he needs to go out there every night and fight crime.
Yeah. And Alfred sort of brings him back to reality.
Yep.
Don't worry, sir. Don't focus too
And something that also Dick Grayson and Barbara like other heroes, even like Superman now has. And even Jim Gordon and people who sort of help him.
Some fun, interesting behind-the-scenes stuff here. This was back when we did Body Actors, and we had about 12 or 15 people on the server all at once trying to get this scene done. And it was incredibly stressful to handle. I mean, I remember sitting there and us being like, wow, how are we going to go about this one? Because that was a lot of people to work with. And then you've got the NPCs that we had to just filling up the space, but for the most part, really, it's all body actors, and that was very stressful.
And even coming up, there's like a dance scene, just like, you know, a ball, and it was very difficult to choreograph that in Minecraft at the time, but we pulled it off very nicely for the time.
Yeah, I mean, for the time, for what it was, it's a decent display.
Carmine Falcone and Simon Stack. These difficult times give a chance for the people of Gotham to come together, become stronger and united as a city. We will get through these difficult times and find out who's behind all these murders. And the Riddler will be found and brought to justice. Tonight should be a time to get your minds off the current situation at hand, and most importantly, to have fun at the ball. Thank you.
Excellent job.
One of those classic Bruce Wayne kind of speeches.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, Al.
Now, we have some guests to attend to.
And one thing, too, is Bruce referring to Al just adds more personality and a more personal touch to the way they interact with each other.
Yeah, and in these ball scenes, we sort of like cut back into the GCPD crew here, which... And then we got the Gotham news reporters, Jack Ryder, who is in the comics, and also Vicky Vale.
Oh, Vicky Vale played by Kai, and Jack Ryder played by Zecora, yep.
Especially the statements on all the murders that have been occurring over the past few months.
I agree, Jack. Well, Gothamites stay tuned for more coverage of the Wayne Ball as the night continues.
And there's Riddler wearing the mask.
While you were here, would you like to be interviewed for Gotham Times coverage of...
So Riddler's on shadows.
Yeah.
Disguise.
In disguise.
What are your thoughts on
Kind of surveying how Gotham's doing, kind of seeing whatever to at the Wayne Ball, because of course the Wayne Ball has very important people there.
Yeah, and he's waiting for the time is right to come out again.
Yep.
Stop right there. What you're saying is irrational.
The people should be ready for the return of the Riddler.
They should.
Who even are you?
One of those, like, chilling, like, almost scenes with Riddler that almost, like, disturbingly chilling. And here we got Jim and Barbara.
The software will allow me to be able to scan people, and will then be able to
hinting at her, like, her angst to want to be a hero type thing.
One thing I think we did really well was showing how brutal this Riddler can be. And once Riddler says something so chilling, we're almost worried about what he's going to do next.
Yeah, like I was saying before.
Yeah.
And then here we got Barbara looking for his Batman. Here we got Harvey and Lucius.
Of course, Barbara's never accurate with her.
He's been very distant lately.
Yeah.
Who she thinks.
Ever since he returned to Gotham 1 year ago, he hasn't been the same. He's been distant, never answering his calls and always canceling plans.
I'm sure it's not personal. You and Bruce have been longtime friends.
It's not just that. He hasn't been showing up to any.
And then there's the subtlety of Lucius being like, "Oh no, I'm sure Bruce is fine," and all this builds up for Harvey. He's so temperamental and so upset by everyone telling him to calm down and to just deal with it, kind of thing, and he doesn't like that. So it builds and it builds and it builds until, of course, the culmination in Two-Face. I mean, when your friend is constantly skipping out on you like that, you're gonna start to.
Especially with everything going on currently in Gotham, I'm also here for you.
And then we've got Josh back his legs again.
The speech was great, Bruce.
Thank you. How are you all enjoying the ball?
It's perfect. It's just like how Thomas and
One of my favorite scenes in part 2 coming up here.
Yep.
It's going well. Plus, with everything going on in Gotham right now, it's pretty hectic at Wayne Enterprises.
If you actually cared about what was going on in Gotham City, you would show up to the meetings.
I do care, Harvey. I'm doing all I can to solve the case.
Continuing that battle between Bruce and Harvey, really building his fall.
Yep. And then the sudden crack where his voice is he's just done, you know. And then of course the very dated dancing sequence, but I mean it did its job for the time.
Yeah, the message.
Care to dance?
I would love to.
And this is the dancing scene we were talking about, and also building on that connection of Bruce and Selena.
My name is Selena Kyle.
You look beautiful.
And then we have to have, of course, the dynamic. So basically, the whole thing there is basically just they realize from the eyes that who they are, kind of thing. Kind of looking past the human face and seeing the mask underneath, so to speak. This is one of those scenes that we've had planned out since forever, to have a villain crash the Wayne Manor in a very grand sequence like this.
I hope everyone is enjoying your ball. Now let me tell you about how the Waynes made us Cobblepot's lives.
And also, if you notice, Penguin's in a different outfit.
Yeah.
In this meeting.
When I was but a boy, my grandfather, Stanley Cobblepot, he spent a little too much money on hotels, trying to make a name for himself and his family. Alan Wayne, Bruce Wayne's sad excuse for a grandfather, buys out all hotel
One thing that
properties in the city.
we definitely nailed was the voice of Penguin with Ethan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really good.
And his characterization as well. Really building up that hate for the Wayne, what he wants to do for the city.
Yep. Again with the motivation.
Some called me a penguin. Can you believe it? A penguin.
And this Oswald Cobblepot isn't the Penguin. Really hasn't found. By the end of this, I'd say Riddler and Penguin are become their comic book counterparts, as well as Catwoman.
I hereby announce that I am running for mayor.
Really, until the end, they're basically just the pre-versions of themselves.
Settle your badges. I'm getting on.
This is Penguin while he's Oswald, not the Penguin. We don't see him until the Penguin until the end of part 3, really.
Let's get out.
Sort of leaning into that monster side like they did in the Burden movies.
Yep.
And then Riddler becomes like the Riddler by his obsession with finding out who Batman is.
You that the words of Oswald Cobblepot should not be taken seriously. He's an empty threat and nothing but that.
Mr. Rain.
It's before his main goal was he.
Launches an attack on the ball. What is your
And now
plan,
he's
Jack?
upset. Not upset. He wants to uncover the greatest hurdle of all time, in his opinion, finding out who the Batman is.
Plenty of
Yep.
security around Wayne Manor. GCPD is attending as well.
Is Mr. Cobblepot's statement on the Waynes accurate?
What Oswald Cobblepot said about my grandfather is true, but I assure you that my mother, father, and even myself are unlike that and are good people.
How can we take your word, Mr. Wayne?
I have got the city.
A very tension-building moment. The pressure just builds on you as an audience member.
I am not in favor of it. I don't think he would benefit the city. No further questions will be taken at this time. This night was supposed to get everyone's mind off of the current situation at hand, and not add more to it. Everyone enjoy the rest of your night.
Yes, the night didn't go as planned as expected, but
No.
this is another very pivotal scene that shows
Master Bruce, is
really
everything alright?
brings him back to the light.
J-Dog, welcome back to the stream, man. You're playing a little God of War. Yeah, we're on part 2 now, about a third of the way in.
Master Bruce, everything's going to be alright. I promise we all make mistakes. You did your best. You haven't failed.
I remember one of my running gags during the edit and such was the way this was shot, the way the music builds, the way it was acted seems like Bruce is threatening Alfred or almost about to kill him, and I thought that was just hysterical. But it is a really good sentimental scene here.
Yeah.
Between really a son and a father kind of dynamic.
I know that you put effort into your friendship. Do you think perhaps he's going through a tough time and is taking it out on you?
But he claims that I don't care about the murders, that I never attend the meetings. I just can't tell him that I do his Batman.
I'm sure all of this will get resolved, Master Bruce. As you said so yourself, tonight was about getting minds off the situation. Go enjoy yourself.
Thanks, Al. I appreciate it.
As always, Master Bruce.
Definitely a really heartfelt scene. One of
And
my
here we got
favorite
a
sequences to
nightmare
edit.
sequence that we planned out for a while. There was also a take in this where a bunch of Bruce's loved ones like burst out of graves, but that was cut to flow the scene more naturally.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's a lot of symbolism in this, really. There's the symbolism of the Batman chasing after him reliving his childhood moments, and it's kind of implied that this is the nightmare he has almost every night. Him losing his loved ones, except now there's a variation on it, and that's Riddler. And Riddler is of course getting to him because that.
Yep.
Batman, help us.
Save us! Save us!
Help us. Please.
Save us!
Good morning, Master Bruce. Did you sleep well?
I wish I could say so, Alfred. I had a nightmare where I was being chased by the Batman. The next thing I knew, he caught up to me, and I heard the voices. Voices of the damned. All people who will die if I don't stop these murders.
None of that will come to fruition, sir.
I know. It's just the thought of it that haunts me, Alfred.
One of my favorite sequences again. It's the way the score comes in, the way that it's perfectly in sync with how that log went down, the way it immerses you, what's about to happen, you know, and then they go down. I think the score is definitely the most important part about Horizon.
I will always be here for you, Master Bruce.
Thanks again, Al. I appreciate it.
Will breakfast cheer you up?
You know me too well.
Again, more sentiment.
But right
Same,
as that's happening, like with Bruce Wayne, it's sort of like he just can't be Bruce. It's just all this Batman stuff coming about, and right here,
constantly interrupted. Yeah.
Do you think that is his base of operation?
One thing that's really funny is you'll notice Alfred progressively loses his hair, and then he gains it back in part 3.
yeah, that was just a little like design change. Like,
Yeah.
Gonna bring an end to the Riddler before he does the irreversible.
Us not really deciding on how we wanted Alfred to look, kind of thing. And then we've got the introduction of Calendar Man, and
there was meant to be a scene in part 3 when part 3 was to be much remind it more. But basically, Calendar Man, he isn't the holiday killer in this. He's responsible for any of them. He just helped Penguin orchestrate when to do the murders.
yeah, he's mainly just an associate. And with part 3, we had a lot of big plans. We'll get to that more when we get to part 3.
Yeah.
But we had a lot planned.
A few characters that were going to be introduced to show like how Gotham fell after the breakout was Anarchy, and the mutants, but they were cut to strip better, which had a better version of part 3.
Alpha Wolf does Calendar Man here.
You do not refer to me as Holiday. I am Calendar Man. Were you successful in killing Simon Stagg?
Of course.
And of course, this is one of those reveal scenes. We get more context about who killed who, why they killed who.
403 days from now.
Christmas. The date makes murder.
Zodiac says Batman doesn't exactly have the whole double life thing that Spider-Man does, because it's more like Bruce is the mask and Batman is who he truly is. Yeah, that's definitely what we were doing too, but it's also incorporating part of the double life thing, because really he is two separate people entirely. He can't be Bruce whatsoever, and it's really a sad story, and that's kind of the root of what Batman is he can't be Bruce, because he's always got to be Batman. Because if there's no Batman, then there's no Gotham for the most part.
Yep.
I wasn't right to be mayor. You would have seen my plan from the start. Carmine Falcone had power and authority in Gotham for the longest period of time.
Yeah, so as Madison said, this is like a reveal scene, and we get a lot of answers.
Simon Stagg was one of the most successful companies in town. He easily done something to take my power away.
Who's next?
Well, the answer to that question is simple, but how I would achieve the goal, that's the difficult one.
Tell me, decapitation is killing me. Harvey Dent, the district attorney of Gotham City. What is your motivations for killing Kale?
Roman Sionis and Gesto Corleone would have still been out running around. They would have been my next target.
Of course, harkening back to Batman the Mask with Modesto Corleone.
You see, my next step after becoming mayor is to destroy the Wayne family after everything they've done to mine. To start, Harvey Dent is the best friend of Bruce Wayne. Killing Harvey, destroy Wayne.
Well, why not just kill Bruce Wayne?
Make him suffer for everything his family's done.
Someone misspelled January down there. You see that? I never noticed that.
My God.
Do you see that? Yeah, it's like January.
Yeah.
I wonder who put that sign.
Not me.
It's funny how you look back and you don't notice something like that.
Yeah.
Chris, your keyboard is...
It's gonna be a long Halloween.
And then the reference to the comic, The Long Halloween.
Yep. You said it.
Oh, here's a really awesome sequence that was another innovative.
I'd say out of all Horizon, like from right here to the end of part 2 is my favorite.
Yeah.
Lucius, I'm able to see inside the church now and can confirm that it's Riddler's base.
That's great. You'll be able to catch him when he least expects it.
I was really concerned with how I was going to handle that X-ray sequence. I was thinking, how am I going to show that? And then it will say, oh, it's as simple as doing a bunch of blue and making the skin orange. I remember we redid that take of Batman going down the glass a lot.
Yeah.
Who will be my contestants for my grand old return?
This whole Riddler confrontation is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unbeatable.
Your typical superhero coming to the villain's lair type.
Oh, me? A stupid mistake? Please do tell, Bat Freak.
The night at the clock tower, before you killed Loeb, I'd attached a tracker to your tech that would show the location of your base the next time your tech was used.
No fair! No fair!
Do you have any involvement in the murders of Anthony Garcia, Carmine Falcone, or Simon Stagg?
Me? That is the most ridiculous riddle I ever heard, and the answer to that is no.
Why? Why did you...
Damn. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, welcome. That's a little thumbs up emoji, my dude.
What language is that?
I'm not sure.
Dim, how's it going?
You will. What an awesome line.
Who promises
Some of my favorite dialogue in Horizon.
and protect individuals.
Nice, Dim, nice.
Fails to do exactly that. You were spot on for once, Batman.
What you're saying is wrong.
Edward Nashon was tortured. No one took him seriously.
Cinematography here as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting what they deserve.
No one deserves any of this, Edward.
You see, that is where you are wrong.
Edward Nashon, I am giving you a chance. You are better than this.
Dim says, so I have $50 to spend on it. Maybe just save it up and get something valuable and meaningful. And really, Riddler goes in for the kill for Batman here, and obviously Batman's not dead, but just showing the threat that Riddler is, even if he's in the shadows, ready to take him on whenever.
It's a shame. You and I could have worked really well together. Both of our minds combined with our detective skills.
But Batman's always got something up the sleeve.
Mm-hmm. The sequence just gets better and better.
I'm going to kill you myself. No collars, no drones, but with one hell of a riddle.
Typical Riddler. He did, Jimmy, he did.
Quite literally.
Looks like you missed.
Indeed.
I gave you a chance at redemption, Riddler. You're too far gone.
You are going to die.
Also, this is one of my favorite looks of Riddler.
Definitely.
Here we go, Bruce pulls smart one.
This is line I remember being inspired off of the Arkham Knight Riddler.
Are you talking to your little friends of the GCPD? Tell them not to worry, because he will be long dead by the time they arrive.
Way to go, Dim.
Church, now.
And we get the return of the drones.
No. You did all this.
It's over, Riddler.
This was none of your concern, Batman. This is only a matter with the GCPD.
It's really interesting how the Batman voice just suddenly gets better.
Yeah.
No. It's not over.
But by part 3, it's just full on. I think you could say that about part 3 itself. Part 3 is full on.
Yeah, but I would say the third act of part 2 is definitely my favorite of all Batman Horizon.
Oh, it is great, yeah.
Oh, Batman, you really think your precious Gotham City is all of a sudden safe by removing me from the picture?
People of Gotham City will no longer have to live in fear of your return.
Then the man behind the murders of Anthony Garcia, Carmine Falcone, Simon Stagg.
It is still out there. They will be found.
And it also shows that, into that narrative, that there would always be something, like Gotham is never going to be, he could defeat the Riddler, he could defeat Penguin, but there will always be something.
Yeah.
But there will always be people to combat that.
GCPD, the opposite of protecting the city. You are no better than the GCPD.
Do you not realize that you are the one that has put the people of Gotham in danger?
I was trying to save them from the GCPD before they hurt anyone else.
And then of the somber realization that the Riddler is right, but Batman would never admit it.
Mm-hmm.
I found the location of his base.
Where's his base? No!
It's at the church.
I'll head over to the church immediately.
Really showing that panic from Riddler, and he thinks this is it.
Riddler's got too much that he needs to do. He can't be done just yet.
And here's a point where you're meant to think like this is it, but it is indeed just the beginning.
Selina.
I never fought someone the likes of Bruce Wayne.
And we got another. So basically, when they saw each other at the ball, they noticed they had the same scar, and they sort of put it together that who they are. And also, guys, a quick little thing, like we did with part 1, there'll be another 10-minute break before part 3. Hope we all are enjoying it so far. Take a bathroom break, stretch your legs, drink food, I don't know, but we'll be back with part 3, 10 minutes after the initial break. And we got some very interesting stuff for this next half. We got an alternate opening of part 3 that showcases the first meeting between Riddler and Penguin, which was cut to streamline the film.
Yep.
And then we got an exclusive at the end, a little added tag. So got a lot to showcase in part 3, so stay tuned. And here we sort of get Selina's backstory and really have that first connecting moment with her.
All right, J-Dog. We'll see you, man.
See ya.
Thanks for joining the stream.
Protect the people of Gotham City.
Then, of course, Bruce is trying to rationalize his situation to Catwoman, who doesn't understand. Because to Catwoman, the streets are just free reign, but to Batman, it's more than that.
Yeah. And if you could tell the music cue, as we said, music is important, we had the music cue about that was played during the incident with Bruce's parents. And this is sort of a scene where we're thinking Riddler's gonna end, but
and this is a very very good scene. I mean, I've always loved this scene because of the scale, because of the dread and the fear of what's next.
Yeah.
The greatest riddle of all time begins.
Alright, J-Dog, I'll go.
Alrighty.
Jimmy's like, I'm done. Jimmy's like, I'm done with your crap. Music cue is important.
What do you think he meant by the greatest riddle of all time?
I don't know.
That's the feeling of dread.
He said he had no interest in the GCPD anymore. We'll be in danger next.
He can't do anything. He's behind bars in Arkham security. How will he break out?
I know that, but with Holiday still being on the loose, we can't afford any more casualties.
The reminder of the Holiday Killer is still out there.
Steve, what the hell is going on?
Is this going on, Riddler?
It is not.
It is not.
And that theme comes in, and it's like, oh, I've heard that, you know?
And here we see some notable faces breaking out, like Majesto, Black Mask, and also we got a cool little cameo of Batman, Victor Zsasz. And sort of his dialogue here really just shows what his character's about. No really explanation needed.
Zombies.
The inmates are escaping.
And we
Of
got
course, played
Ignatius.
by the amazing Hunter.
Yep.
Are you the one that goes by the Riddler?
Yes, I am.
Probably me.
What could it possibly happen now?
Arkham in flames.
Arkham, it's up in flames.
Don't worry, Chris. Batman heard you.
It's an emergency.
What has happened?
You need to listen to this.
Arkham. It's in flames, right?
Then we got Aiden back and another cool cameo.
Ah!
And part 2 comes to a close.
Another case of music really adding to a scene.
Yeah, the atmosphere.
Actually, I believe the meeting bleeds right in. I don't think I cut it between 2 and 3, so it'll go through the original part 3. Yeah, and then it'll fade in.
We should just take a break, like where part 2 is meant to initially end.
Yeah. Okay.
So we should save that the meeting scene for beginning of part 3.
Your boss will be pleased to meet you.
Your boss?
Yeah.
He has big plans for you. And I think the two of you share a common enemy.
Setting up Penguin and Riddler's team up.
So that's it for part 2.
Yep, stretch your legs, get some food, and if you guys have any questions, put them in the chat, and we'll be back in 10 minutes again for the conclusion of part 3, an awesome deleted scene, and a special announcement to wrap things off. So, see you guys then.
Yep.
And not bothering.
Listening to all the things you can't hear. No matter what life is, pick up. You should know. No matter what life is, pick up. No matter what life is, pick up. You should know. No matter what life is, pick up. Every song, wherever you ever, every song, and you will always answer. Every song.
Hello. Welcome back to the Red and Blue stream. If you have been living on a rock the whole stream, or you have no ears, or you're just now getting here, this is Chris. I'm.
Or if you're deaf,
Madison, or I'm, and he's Spider, or whatever the hell you like.
So quick little story. So during the one of the songs that we're playing, if you guys heard, like, it was so funny to me and Madison, for Madison and I, for some reason, like, they kept going, get the ball back.
Yeah, I mean, it's hilarious. Like, what the? Yeah. I never heard
like,
that.
I'm sitting here, and I'm like, get the ball back. And I put some Madison's head, and he's like, what? And I'm like, get the ball back. He's like, oh.
Yeah, some of these songs, I mean, they're really cool, like, unique sound, but, oh my, that one was hilarious.
Anyways, so we're going to start it up with the scrapped opening of part 3 that we filmed, and this will be up on the channel right afterwards as a deleted, so you guys can see it at your convenient. One thing like we want to do with these rewatches, and we'll continue in the future, is we'll have the base film to watch. We'll also have like exclusive content with an announcement.
Yeah,
for you guys. It's not just like a blatant like rewatch of
right, because no one wants to see us look at our own movie and not say anything. That's just boring. Am I right? All right.
Yeah. So here we go, the scrapped opening, and then we'll go right into part 3, and then we'll have a special announcement at the end. So let's go.
We'll be right back. Nope, just kidding. Here we go.
Yeah. See you guys.
Make yourself comfortable.
No. I'll be right back.
If you so wish.
Your men said that we share a common enemy.
Oh, Edward.
Yeah, so part 3 we scrapped a lot. As we did with Anarchy, we had a lot more Batgirl in it, but we wanted to make it more streamlined, the story we had, and we just wanted to get right into things, so that's why this scene had been cut.
Yep.
There was also another really cool scene where we have everyone in Gotham seeing what happened, and we have Black Mask had broken out, so we have a scene of him, him actually killing Mephisto, Zaz on the loose, like a little fight between Zaz,
They all had power.
Bruce and Catwoman team up, take on Zaz, and we also had a cool scene of like the Daily Planet crew from Superman Election Year returning, like Lois, Clark, Jimmy, seeing like what had happened with in Gotham. So yeah, just some cool insight of what part 3 was originally gonna have.
And here we go with the opening of part 3.
So
a couple of notable things I want to just... I mean, from the get-go, it's completely different visual styling. Obviously, we switched over to Blockbuster. We were done with our body acting past. And the quality just went up from here, really.
He can turn into a giant bat.
What?
Another cool thing is there's meant to be ambiguity here. Not ambiguity, but meant to be very, very ambiguous.
Wow.
When we have them see the Riddler people, so like, was Riddler really there? And the question mark that's left there is sort of so just the influence of the Riddler on Gotham following everything he's done.
The guy who put an end to Carmine Falcone's reign?
Kid, don't believe everything you hear.
Continuing the legend of Batman.
And again with the score, there's a lot of music hits in this that just really encapsulate the scene.
Hey, you alright?
We've got Max as that guy, I believe. I can't remember the other guy. I think it was Zecora again. And then we had
Max, Josh,
Zecora and Giovanni, right?
Yeah.
As those kids, whatever order, I don't remember, but they're all there. I remember thinking that would have been a perfect opening for an intro credits if we hadn't already done the intro credits 2 parts earlier. Why we'd hold off on the intro credits until then, I don't know. Don't think we'd ever want to do that.
Whatever you say, Harvey.
And there's the coin flip I was talking about too, how much better it is.
What in the hell?
And of course, the amazing performance of Anthony as Harvey. Yep.
Get the hell out of here!
How are you doing on this fine evening, Harvey?
Go fuck yourself, Cobblepot.
That is not on tonight's agenda.
Little clever line
The
there.
answer to that question is not so simple.
You must be.
Oh, we got Riddler in his animated series outfit.
Yep. And of course, Penguin's more high definition, more detail on the face.
Yeah, and a comic accurate outfit as well.
Yep.
I had to take out everyone in power.
What we really wanted to showcase here was the disfigurement that Penguin was talking about in parts 1 and 2, because we couldn't see that before, but now we can see, oh, he is messed up in the face. He was bullied for his physical appearance.
Storm, you are the best friend of Bruce Wayne. And in killing you, it will do nothing but destroy Bruce Wayne.
Dear God.
Ignatius Ogilvy, his hair is a different color here, and that's just a behind-the-scenes mistake, but that is Ignatius.
What am I?
Time.
There goes Harvey.
There he goes, buddy.
Hello, Brody.
Bye.
See ya, Bucko.
And then once we see, I mean, the whole just vibe of this scene is great, and the Batman voice to the Gordon voice to the designs of the skins to.
Of what Mrs. Dent told us, Cobblepot confirmed to Harvey that he was the one.
And we got Faustus, the guy that voiced Ra's al Ghul in part 1, to play Harvey here, and he just nailed that
Made
role.
him go after Harvey.
We have no clue.
Where's Harvey now?
And of course, like my Batman, Chris's Gordon got miles better in part 3 as well.
But how will we find them?
Easy.
Showcasing more of the quality upgrade.
Cobblepot bought all of Falcone's properties, including Gotham City Pier. If Cobblepot was to have a base of
So one misnomer is this is the same bat suit that was featured in part 2. It's not different. It's just down to the higher quality upgrade that we wanted. Actually, I believe the utility belt is a different color. I don't remember.
It is.
And then we got the scene of the dock, which I'm still very impressed with that scene.
Yeah.
It's just this whole visual is awesome, you know?
You got Sionis's name there. And this is the beginning of the end right here.
Just the way that this Batman looked in part 3, I'm still eternally proud of, you know? I mean, it just looks so good.
I don't understand. You should be here.
This is such a classic finale.
Oh, please, Batman. You figure we'd be standing in plain sight ready for you to throw us behind bars?
Everything comes
We've
together.
got lots of fun planned for you.
Why? Why did you kill them?
How else am I supposed to achieve a mayoral election? Do you truly believe citizens of Gotham would elect me?
What did Dent do to deserve that?
Questions. I like it.
Also,
Tell
it
me,
shows that
Batman,
Bruce really does
what
care for
convinced
Harvey.
you that it was a question
Yep.
worth asking.
Previously.
Before you ask a question, first you must consider the answers. Maybe because we enjoyed it. We are villains after all, aren't we, Batman?
I'm no villain. I don't hurt others for my own sick.
Sure to goes to that thing in the comics where it's like, is
don't
really
Batman.
Is Bruce actually like the villains? Is Bruce a good guy?
For
Right.
your own sick and personal gain.
Ed 60 stud voicing Batman is me, but I think you knew that.
How do you destroy a man of such high society? You take what he truly cares about most.
That sound check once
Not
again.
money.
Right.
He has enough. No. You take his loved ones.
I love the lighting on Penguin in that
Man,
shot.
the feud you had with Bruce Wayne?
You can hear the frustration in Batman's voice. I love it. Just the pure morbidity.
Bring it, Enigma.
And here we
My
go.
pleasure, Bats. Send in every one of those meatheads. I want him dead.
On it.
Classic. I think that's the last time we hear him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here we go, the start to the final big dog fight, which...
The beginning of the end.
Yeah.
Peace says the
Building
Batman
has-
2022. I don't know what you mean by that, but yeah, the Batman 2022.
Here we
It says
go.
Batman Arkham Challenge map. Yes, man. See, that's what I was thinking.
And we got this excellent rendition of the 66 theme here, which is another of my favorite parts of it.
I remember there's like a common thing that happens to me when I'm doing fight scenes is like it doesn't correlate, so there's like an awkward like I'm trying to figure out what to do there kind of thing. But it worked all right. I just dubbed in a line. P says read the announcement soon. There will be an announcement very soon. I recommend you stay tuned.
What?
And we got, this was very late in the game. We were like, who should we include in Grundy? We have plans to expand on what Grundy is in the future. But,
Alfred, I need
they just sort of like
information on
found him as this
structural
brute.
points in the building.
Oh, here we go. So we've got
This is awesome.
Jared voicing Alfred, which is
Seems the
amazing.
weak points are there, and there.
And so basically, this was just an awesome trick of
Thanks, Al.
editing in Sony Vegas. I still don't know how I pulled that off, but it just went together so well.
It's really nice. And this Grundy part.
So basically, we were torn between either Grundy, Killer Croc, Bane, etc. You get the point. It was just supposed to be a big sort of character. And we figured Grundy would be the easiest because we don't need to explain much about him. He's just a big, dumb zombie. So it's like, what the hell? We'll put Grundy in.
What? What? No! No! What?
And of course, Riddler's in absolute denial. Because in his mind, he cannot lose.
Grundy! Over here.
Impossible! You said it was impossible for him to win!
Relax.
No. No. You said it was impossible!
And this is Penguin. What's the last we see of him? And then Riddler's
Yep.
You
here,
cheated!
police
You
come in.
cheated!
What's the matter, Nigma? You seem puzzled.
No! No! This cannot
I like
happen.
how
It
that
cannot
that
happen.
pun came out. You seem puzzled, and
Yeah,
it's just it's
great.
nice. JDX says Bane should be built up since he's the one who breaks the bat. I definitely agree with you, which is why we did not want to use a character we would have to
Get
build
everyone
up.
in there arrested! Now!
And just how this all ends is so good.
I don't understand. It was perfect. Everything perfectly planned out. We're to be guided by Grundy.
You could hear
We
them
were to
coming
go over
in.
the city. It makes
Yep.
no sense. Who are you?
You said it yourself, Nigma. Be careful about the questions you ask. You might not like the answers.
I demand to know. I will find out. Who are you? No!
How corny would it have been if he said, "I'm vengeance"?
Oh, Jared, what's going on, man?
Oh, we got Jared. Hey, man, I was just talking about you
Hey.
and you're Alfred. You were just on. Yeah, welcome to the stream, man. And then, of course, we close out on Ethan's amazing penguin.
But they have not
Yep, the birth of the penguin. We even have the soundtrack.
Yep.
Batman Returns.
Oh, wow, I thought I trimmed down that, okay, I didn't.
Master Bruce.
Oh, and then we've got,
It has been a crazy past few
Jared
months.
back again, so I guess you didn't miss out.
From Falcone's reign, Frostface Society, the Riddler and Oswald Cobblepot, you managed to overcome whatever came your way.
And I'm ready for whatever comes next.
After all, night out wouldn't be such a bad idea.
Maybe the circus, for old time's sakes.
Agreed.
Something about that shot and that
give
angle
Gordon
is
the
just so
recognition he deserves
masterful.
for
I don't know what it is, but it just makes you think
Yeah.
that is Bruce. And then, just like we opened, we close out with the Batcave lights. Just so
poetic.
good. I did trim that down, though, for our cut, because that was awfully, like, spaced out, if you remember that.
Yeah, Jared says he likes the penguin voice. Agreed.
Oh, yeah, definitely agreed. Ethan did a great job.
It's been a rough couple of months for everyone.
And sort of Jim's arc throughout
Look at
this
you
is
all.
him like earning the role of commissioner, and now he finally.
Oh yeah, definitely. J-Duck says now Bruce is gonna go and take on the burden of a child after a circus show. It's really funny you say that,
And
but
then
yeah.
and then we got Selena Kyle as
We'll fight together.
Ignatius as Emperor Penguin now, sort of
Be able
taking
to sleep
over
comfortably at night,
Cobblepot.
every Gothamite can sleep in security. I would like to thank the GC.
There
We got,
we
of
have
course, the
Penguin
monstrous
becoming-
penguin.
Yeah.
More specifically, Bullet.
There's Sionis back at it after getting into prison.
Hero he saw, Batman, who has been here for Gotham since all this began.
Rallying the troops.
Gotham City,
Yeah.
much more closely with the Batman.
And then we got Barbara Gordon, who's now the girl.
The efforts of the Riddler, formerly Edward Nash, were thwarted in quick succession by not only the GCPD and Batman.
The perfect resolution for our story, man. And of
Yeah.
course, Anthony's awesome Two-Face comes back.
Yeah.
His criminal reform policy.
This film really does serve as an origin for.
Moment of silence for those
In my
lost in
opinion.
tragedies of the past.
Oh, definitely.
Anthony Garcia, Commissioner Gillian B. Loeb.
Harley Quinn, or Harleen Quinzel.
Yep.
Enigma. It's time
And this is going back to what we were saying
Greatest
earlier.
riddle of all time has begun.
This is where he's out to find out who Batman is.
And what is
And this really sets up his story from this point on. Obsession with who Batman
Yeah.
is. With this, there's something we can talk about. I'll get to it in just a second.
Somehow, thank you. Mean a great deal to us all.
We got that awesome Joker card. Sort of hinting
That
at
voice would have been done by the Scorpion, something like that. He was really cool. He would have done an amazing Joker. To our knowledge, we don't know of his whereabouts, so our next story that we would do in
He's
Batman.
deleted every single one of his accounts.
Yep.
But yes, wherever Joker appears next, recasted.
Yeah, and we'll be sure to include an amazing voice actor.
Yeah.
And yeah, Jared, yeah, there was Mama Jumbo in there. There was a bunch of NPCs of like YouTubers and stuff in there, just for a bunch of little Easter egg kind of things. But yeah, and then 6, Mama Jumbo is in there. Yeah. And Jared says that was a visceral scream from Two-Face. Yes, it was. He's horribly disfigured.
Yeah.
And that end credits just wraps it all up in a neat little bow. Of course, Batman Horizon was not written by me and Spider-Storm. That's a lie.
Yeah, who is that?
We ripped
Fuck
the
that
story
guy.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I would say overall we had a lot of fun with this project. I don't know if you can tell. It was just loads of fun. By part 3, we were kicking a major ass.
Indeed.
And we'll continue to kick some major ass, I would hope. We've got a big surprise coming up in just a few seconds here.
Yep.
Yep. So our next Batman project, it did not appear because Sony Vegas decided to lag out, but Tales from Gotham.
And this will be a mini-series about 10 episodes, and we'll deal with what happens in Batman's story next, and we'll introduce as Robin and continue Barbara Gordon as Batgirl and have the three of them working together to face what's next in Gotham and the overarching threat and the mystery of, you guessed it, the Court of Owls. So stay tuned.
It'll be awesome. It'll be a fun ride. We hope to
Coming
see you there.
sometime soon.
This is not going to be the last of the Red and Blue Lives. We had a lot of fun with this one, so we're definitely going to continue the trend. Apologies for the wait in the beginning. We had a little bit of waiting to do, but I would say overall, all in all, it is worth the wait.
Thank you guys for coming. We're definitely going to do more of these in the future. And it was great, so thank you all.
Really quick, J-Dog says, only if Robin has the short shorts. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, buddy. Robin will not have the short shorts. If he doesn't, I won't watch it. Well, God damn it, you're not going to watch it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Have a nice night. See you guys soon.
We hope you enjoyed it just as much as we did, and sayonara.
Bye-bye.